And I want to thank KPMG for hosting us this morning. It's wonderful. We're up here in the clouds on at Gold Coast. So we've got Minter Ellison, Bond University, KPMG is our sponsors, the launch of Cocoa Matrix, which is very exciting, and some wonderful participants. There'll be more joining us, but I want to officially welcome our guests. We've got Michael Sherlock, a high-profile business leader. He transformed an ailing set of bakery shops in the late 1990s to position Brumby's as the second largest bakery franchise system in Australasia. With over 320 bakeries by 2007 under Michael's leadership, Brumby's share price rose from 56 cents to $3.40 in just over 3 years. Wow, incredible. In 2007, Michael resigned as managing director of Brumby's after ASX-listed company RFG purchased Brumby's for $46 million. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
It's wonderful. Mark Deacon, co-director of Superdraft, the award-winning one-stop shop for architectural design, drafting, structural engineering, land surveying, energy reports, building cost estimations, and construction services. Superdraft was founded by Jake Robinson in Perth, 2011. In 2013, Jake joined forces with Mark, and now they comprise a team of over 100 nationwide. Offices in Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Perth. They undertake around 1,000 projects per year in both residential and commercial sectors. And Mark and Jake were acknowledged for their success, taking out the 2015 Gold Coast Young Entrepreneur Award. Welcome, Mark. Give us a wave so we know if people have you on gallery who you are. And Lloyd Ernst, a technology entrepreneur, building businesses using partner channels to leverage sales efforts, building strong teams who are passionate about customer service. Lloyd successfully managed exits from PowerUp, Web Central, Extreme Lock, and served on the boards of Internet Industry Association, Pipe Networks, Event Zero Proprietary Limited, with over 3,000 employees, 60% of which are female. Lloyd established operations in the Philippines in 2009 with CloudStaff, and Lloyd is a technology visionary. Welcome, Lloyd. Give us a wave. Excellent.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here.
That is fabulous. So what I would love is we will start with Michael, a couple of minutes. Why do you think it's important to be involved in these discussions? Why do you think it's important for CEOs to gather together to discuss important issues post-COVID?
Well, COVID is one of the most exciting times. We're so lucky to be alive and living in COVID times because it's bringing up so many challenges. So it brings people together, and these events are just one of those opportunities. Like back in the day, does anyone remember Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, everyone's cheese has been moved. So like for yourself, Kate, being in the travel industry, it's devastating, but you got to pivot.
Yes.
You know, it's a digital world we're living in, and so this is how we do conferences now. So you can either resign to it and rail against it, or you can be inspired by it and be challenged by what the opportunities present.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Mark, what about for yourself?
Yeah, I think the best way to come up with the best solutions is through collaboration. And so, coming together in forums like this, being able to collaborate or hear from others is really important. We often collaborate internally within our own individual teams, within our own companies, but often we can get some great ideas or pathways by hearing from other CEOs, leaders out there as well.
Yeah, agreed. And Lloyd, for yourself in the Philippines to join us so early in the morning, why do you think it's important?
This is the way CEOs are wired differently to, some of the rank and file staff, and being able to have, discussions and be able to, I think we all think a little bit differently, and so being able to sort of share some of these ideas from a CEO perspective, is just incredibly invaluable. And I think, we're all in the same park here that, this was an opportunity to pivot. And, the number of people I talk to who have been able to, make positive inroads, it's just been amazing.
Great. That's wonderful. And so I guess the theme that we're really looking at is compassionate leadership. How has COVID had to bring to the forefront a compassionate leadership style. Is it something that you're thinking about? And why do you think compassion is important? I might start with Mark, actually. Being a young CEO, what's changed since COVID?
Yeah, I think I'm a firm believer of, I call it servant leadership, which is kind of in line with compassion, and where, you know, our role as leaders within the organization isn't necessarily to tell everyone what to do and meet KPIs, but actually just to be there to help serve them, help support them, identify, you know, their roadblocks, what's going on in their world. You know, often the problems that or the struggles they're facing at work's normally due to things happening in their own personal lives as well. Obviously, COVID's played a big part to that. You know, mental health's a big one. You know, over the years, had to deal with a lot of different individuals, you know, dealing with their own mental health issues, which has been caused just through their own, you know, personal circumstances and going through life. And I think, yeah, COVID just brought out that a lot more with, you know, people in lockdown, stresses, uncertainty as well. And I think it's more important as leaders within the organization that, you know, first and foremost, we're there to care for those within our team. We've got KPIs and objectives to meet within the company, but, you know, I think if we first care for those within the team, listen to the problems that they're going through, well, then, you know, they're more likely to step up to what's required of the organization as well. And we saw that through COVID in ourselves, where you know, there was a point where we had to, you know, make a response to COVID, and we had to reduce our costs, and, you know, everyone basically volunteered to take a reduced pay to see their fellow team members keep their jobs. And I think that kind of comes back to the culture that's formed, and it starts from the leadership down in terms of that servant leadership or that compassion that we have for one another.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess when you say care, if we were to say, Lloyd, with 3,000 employees and stopping and listening, how do you physically do that in a day when you're running such a huge business? Is it something you make time for? Is it something you have external team helping? How do you physically care for so many people under your leadership?
One of the best things that we did is we got rid of email. So I had 3,000 mailboxes, and we basically banned email inside the company, and we moved everything to chats. So, you know, we're a big, you know, whether it's Microsoft Teams or Google Chat, you know, but when you ban, and so all of a sudden, you know, you can be a lot more visible within inside the organization. And so we found that gave people that interaction, because, you know, normally they would stick their head up over the cubicle and talk to someone or chat to the person next to you. That's all gone. And you do need to replace it. Otherwise you get this professional loneliness. So, you know, at any one time, you know, we will have several thousand people on our chat servers. And you know, we have also the social element there, but everything from the nurses and the techs and everyone kind of has their own channel. So we rearranged everything to be able to support that. And so I think that's been one of the key drivers. And we also, you know, just love video, and we even built 2 studios to be able to support that. So
that's wonderful. And something interesting you mentioned prior to the session is, prior to COVID, I think you said you had 4 laptops for your company.
That's right.
How many?
I'm now the biggest. You know, we're in the BPO sector, you know, and this previously, up until March the 12th, everything was in the office. You know, we had security guards who patted people down when they left the office, etc. You know, and you never buy a laptop for fear that it'll get stolen or disappear on the bus or something like that. You know, I've now got 2,000 laptops.
Wow. There you go. And that's a huge change, isn't it? I mean, really, if we think about it from a infrastructure point of view, Michael, you've always worked in and around different teams. What's the effort that you're taking at the moment to attract the best talent in your leadership? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, I work part-time, 3 days a week for Sentinel, and which is a REIT, a real estate investment trust in Brisbane. So we've got about $1 billion plus worth of property all around Australia. So we've got a team of about 110 people. So when COVID came, that we had to work from home, and that was an opportunity to really get to know people a bit better, because you communicated directly with them. You know, you could, Lloyd's not giving much away there with his blue background, but, you know, I can see you live on the Gold Coast, so I've got something on you, you know, that that one thing that I always use when I talk to people, I used to use a bit, is astrology, because then you got people talking about themselves. So COVID's given you a chance to talk about one-on-one with people outside of work. So as far as email goes, Lloyd, we at Sentinel, we have a less emails Wednesday, where the aim is not to send emails unless it's to external suppliers and things like that.
Yeah.
So you get people to get up and, because you're sitting there with 100 people in an office and people send you an email, I just get up and walk around and say whatever, because you can go back and forth. Anyway, COVID, the main thing is I think I got a lot closer and understand people's situations better. And, they've moved up in my triangle of just saying hi, good morning, that triangle where you're right at the point. There's a lot more people at my point now, so, where you socialize with them in other areas. So, yep, it's an exciting, opportunistic time for me.
Fabulous. And isn't it handy on Zoom that everyone's name appears below them?
I can remember your name. I'm really bad at names. I have to give people nicknames.
There you go. But it's interesting that, we've found running conferences, 200 people at a time, and suddenly the CEOs are connecting directly with the team members because their name's below, and they're connecting the name with the face. And as you say, seeing dogs, kids in the background, some lifestyle things. So Mark, can I ask, how do you see your marketing changing in the future post-COVID? What are some things you've had to adapt to and change to? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, sure. So when COVID hit, we had to put in place not just defensive response mechanism, but we put a lot of offensive response mechanisms in place. And one of those was in marketing. So we turned up our marketing budget. We actually turned on social media marketing for the first time in the middle of COVID. And it was something that we'd kind of put off for some time just because there wasn't, I guess, a need to do it. And when the first shockwave of COVID hit, it all of a sudden created a need to start marketing in new and different ways. And so we turned on social media and we saw a huge uplift in terms of our customer acquisition on the back of that. And, we see obviously digital is a huge one moving forward. More people are online. Obviously remote working is huge as part of that as well. You can attract talent from a broader range of places, and it's now normal for people to work remotely as well. And so for us, it's about pushing forward with our digital marketing strategies, but also strategic partnerships as well. So we're looking.
And so you were discussing previously about chat boxes, and can you help us to see how you've embraced technology in that way, and whether it's AI or whether you use people? What's your preference?
Yeah, so like on our website, we've got a live chat widget, and historically we've had a person who's monitored that. And one of our loyal staff members over in the Philippines has been doing that for the last few years, and we trialed using AI and using chatbots, and obviously the cost goes down, right? But we noticed that AI doesn't necessarily replace that human interaction, and we found that customized, personalized service which people want, and so we found that the number of leads we were generating from the AI was actually less. And when we worked out the cost savings of having AI-driven chatbot versus the amount of losses in revenue from the shortfall in leads that we're getting from the bot, we've realized that it's better in that instance for